Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Kim Size on another segment of My Mondays. And on today's segment of My Mondays, what I just want to talk about is in the city of Newport News and Hampton. It's actually the kids' first day of school. And by me being a football coach, I have a following on Instagram, particularly on that social media platform of, this kids just going on their first day of school. And I just want to talk about that. Also, talk about my journey and how positive has me getting the education has affected me, and also just giving them some words of encouragement. And as you can see, I have on my Chowan University Honors College shirt, and I also have on my Chowan University lacrosse hat shirt, just to show some signification of how education has affected me, and also how the branding of how education has gone a long way. And so with that being said, I'm just going to talk about that. So initially, when I first started school, I was actually held back in the first grade. That was just due to the fact that I had transferred schools and I was behind on my work. And that did not necessarily deteriorate me from my growth as a student, because it actually allowed me to grow further as a student. About time I was in the second grade, I just noticed I had a knack for learning, and I was very studious, to the point I remember it because I got an older brother that he has his books and stuff laid over from previous schoolwork, and I was just stuck just doing math problems and stuff, and I was just loving it, and I was like, man, I'm starting to catch on to it. And then further into the third grade, we had this thing called we were doing this multiplication competition, and I killed it. It was from the multiplications of 1 through 10, and about time I was in my about time I was done, about time I was done with my 10s, kids were still on their 6s and 5s. And even when we did SOLs, I was between social studies, science, and math, I killed it. I even had a 600, which is a perfect score in your SOLs. And one of the things I could take it from, that's the elementary part of it, was every time I set my mind to doing something great in elementary school, I did it as a student. And I could just remember telling my mom, every time I told her, make honor roll this year. I'll make honor roll this market period. I made honor roll. So that was just something that I picked up early on, and how I was such a successful student. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to translate that too well to middle school. One, I felt like I was probably arrogant at that time period. I'm like, man, school's nothing to me. I didn't have to read. I didn't have to put in the work, which you'll understand further down the line, which work was what got me to where I'm at today. But like I said, I didn't feel like I didn't have to put in the work, but there was a whole lot of adversity that I had to face. In my 6th grade year, I actually injured my knee, and that took me out the whole, it didn't take me out the whole school year, but I was on crutches, and I ended up getting homeschooled. I ended up missing a whole bunch of time in school, and the school that I attended was on the other side of town. And I had to actually, had to go into to middle school. Not middle school, but summer school, that's to actually get promoted, or that's to go to the 7th grade, and then fast forward to the 7th grade. I had to I got injured again with my knee, but I pulled through that very quickly. But I actually ended up getting sick with mono, and mono is something that takes you down for a few weeks or a few months. So I missed a substantial amount of time in school, and I struggled, but I had to end up going back to summer school, and my eye-opener to me was just that, man, a teacher who never knew me told me basically, you're better than this. Why are you here? And after that, I just buckled down on schoolwork, and 8th grade year, pretty decent, pretty successful. But unfortunately, another moment in life happened to me when my grandfather passed away. So in a 3-year time span where I went from this kid that basically a gifted student to a kid that had to deal with adversity and struggle throughout middle school, I had to end up channeling something inside of me that made me better. And fortunately, I didn't have to go to summer school that year. I just outright got promoted, and I just ended up going into the 9th grade. But one of the things that was good about it was I actually ended up, my last market period ended up getting honor roll. But fast forward to high school. At high school, I was a gifted student. I feel like I did pretty good things. As a student, I didn't really deal with too much adversity as far as family wise and stuff like that. Things was pretty simple. Grades, it was just I played football and I went home and I did good grades. So I wouldn't say I didn't face with too much adversity in high school as far as that. I mean, probably social life wise, yeah, I had some adversity I had to deal with. But other than that, like schoolwork wise, it was pretty simple for me because, like I said, I was just a gifted person. But what it taught me from middle school to high school was that I'm not all that smart enough to where I'm not all that gifted enough to where my problems can't outweigh my talent. And so I had to learn from that standpoint that I had to put in some type of work. And yes, I graduated high school with honors. And so fortunately, by me graduating high school with honors and being a football player, I didn't get a football scholarship to Chuan University, but I still was able to get some type of academic scholarship. And basically, when I was at Chuan University, my gifts just basically blossomed into who I was as a full-time student. And so my first semester at Chuan University, I actually had a 4.0. Then it had no B's, no C's, or nothing. It's straight A's. And even my second semester, I only had one B, and that was an honors college class. But my work ethic was that's the thing that started. That's started actually transferring with me. And then basically, my last 3 years of college was kind of it was a lot of turmoil going on because my family, they were struggling, and I had to take the call of being the man of the family. And it was crazy because like it was times where I had to work 2 or 3 jobs but still maintain a good GPA. And fortunately, my sophomore year, I still had a 3.9 GPA, and I felt like I was still at the top of my game. But I was also transferring that to stuff I was getting involved with outside of school. And then going to my junior year, I had more responsibilities. I had more responsibilities with the family. I still had more responsibilities with myself. And I had more responsibilities as a student. But I still maintained a good GPA. I mean, unfortunately, I had 2 C's my fall semester, my junior year. But other than that, my grades were still pretty much up to par. And then spring semester grades was I had made honor roll again, so I only had 1 bad semester. You want to call a bad semester with 2 C's in college, but that's my only worst semester I had in college. And then my senior year had multiple jobs again, still providing for the family. But I graduated with honors. I received a whole bunch of academic accolades, like to the point I was one of the top 20%, top 10% students in my class. And if you ever see my car, you'll get to see I got honors cores and honors graduate stuff in my car. That's just for signification of just showing you how much academics allowed me to blossom. Now to the young kids, I'm gonna tell you like this: school is going to challenge you. There's going to be adversity. There's going to be times where you're gonna feel like, man, my teacher don't like me. The school don't like me. This is not for me. I tell you this: find what makes you tick. Find what makes you go in school. Find what makes you a better student. If that's wanting to be a mechanic, if that's wanting to be a doctor, if that's wanting to be a football player. Because initially my why in school was this: I wanted this to play football. And I understood that I needed a 2.0 to play football in high school. So I would be darned if I would say I was going to do bad in school. I had to do whatever I had to do. Like I remember it was a teacher, she required us to type papers, and my mom don't have a computer, so I had to. I mean, fortunately, I was already a high school player, so I already was basically staying after school. But I had to make time to go to the library, and this teacher literally used to stand by my side to make sure I typed my paper. And I did that my sophomore year, and she was one of the hardest teachers, but she appreciated my work ethic. But that was just my why, because I wanted to better myself, and I wanted to be a football player. And like I'm just telling y'all, like, you're going to go through adversity. There's going to be times where a class is hard. That's just anything with life. Like, sometimes you got to give that extra 120%. Sometimes you got to go that extra above and beyond, because there's so many situations within myself as a student where I did not want to do what I had to do, but I did it just because I felt like it was going to make me better in the long run. And now I'm here to this day just being like, I can enjoy the fruits of my labor of being a successful student and even being a successful person. And so, like, Like I'm just saying, y'all, even if you want to be a rapper or something, take a literature class. This to get your bars better. Even if you just want to be a football coach, take physical education seriously. Go to them anatomy classes. Take chemistry or something like that. Take some of the courses that's going to make you better. And if you have any questions, ask me. I tell you, like, hey, go here, go there. Because some of the classes, like, not all of them might not translate to the real world, but there is a lot more that will translate to the real world. I ended up taking business class, and some of them, yeah, they did not translate too well to the real world. But then there's also some that where they taught me how to understand the importance of finances. So I'm just telling y'all all these things that's for y'all to see. If anyone look at this, if any kid that's following my Instagram page, or even see it on Facebook, just watching this, and they need some tips, man, I'm always here. I'm always open up. I'm always one of them ones that, like I said, that had the success in college. I had the success in high school. Yeah, I had my downfalls in middle school, but that would make me who I am as a person throughout high school and college, because I'd be damned if I let somebody tell me I'm going to be a failure. And that's all I just got to say, y'all. Like I said, find your why in school. If there's anything, find your why in school. And y'all get good grades, or get good grades and stuff you do well that you want to do. If there's anything y'all don't learn from me about this in this podcast. And with that being said, y'all, this is Kim the Sites on another segment of My Monday.